Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're putting on our director's hats and using a cinematic lens to unpack a short but honestly incredibly potent story from our source material. We're talking about the story of Zacchaeus. It's basically a perfect script blueprint for radical personal transformation. Even though the text we're looking at is just a few sentences long, it packs a massive narrative punch. We go from severe social isolation to this intimate connection, and from intense greed to, well, just radical generosity, all in a few quick beats. Let's dive right in.
Part 1. The Disliked Wealthy Collector. So before we can really appreciate the change here, we've got to understand the baseline. Zacchaeus was a wealthy tax collector. Now, right off the bat, that profession came with some immediate heavy baggage. He was heavily disliked by, well, pretty much everyone. The source explicitly links his job to his wealth, but then it hits us with this harsh reality. Despite his immense financial success, which, you'd think might buy status or comfort, Zacchaeus lived in severe social isolation. He was surrounded all day by the very people he collected from, but he was entirely alone.
Moving on to Part 2, Climbing the Sycamore Tree.
Okay, so this is where the psychological tension of his isolation suddenly turns into physical action. Zacchaeus faced a very literal limitation in this bustling crowd. Because he was short, he just couldn't see over anyone. But he doesn't give up. Instead, he literally climbed a sycamore tree just to see Jesus passing by. Think about the visuals of that for a second. It's like a movie scene, a rich, powerful, yet deeply despised guy in expensive clothes awkwardly scrambling up a tree just to get a glimpse of someone walking through town. It shows this incredible curiosity, right? And honestly, a profound desperation.
Part 3. The Unexpected Invitation.
So picture Zacchaeus up there, in the branches, probably assuming he's completely invisible, but then Jesus stopped and looked up. If this were a movie, this is the absolute climax of the scene. The bustling crowd, the noise, the forward movement, it literally all freezes. Jesus looks up directly at this wealthy, isolated tax collector hiding out in the leaves. This is that intense moment of being truly seen.
And then comes this piece of incredible dialogue. Zacchaeus, come down immediately, I must stay at your house today. Wow. Jesus calls him by his actual name, initiating this totally unexpected, intimate connection by literally inviting himself over. For a guy who is universally disliked, having a central figure publicly declare they're coming to his house, that is an unprecedented social disruption. It completely, utterly shatters his isolated status quo.
Which brings us to Part 4, a joyful welcome. This unprecedented invitation creates an instant emotional pivot. The text tells us Zacchaeus joyfully welcomed him. I really want to pause and emphasize that word joyfully. You don't usually associate a corrupt, lonely tax collector with pure, unfiltered joy, right? But that single moment of being seen, it shatters his isolation. That burst of joy is the very first indicator that something fundamental has just shifted deep inside of him.
Part 5. The Transformed Heart.
Because true transformation isn't just a warm, fuzzy feeling. It demands a real, external overhaul of behavior. Zacchaeus' heart was changed, and his very first promise was wild. He committed to giving away exactly 1/2 of all his wealth to the poor. Keep in mind, his wealth was his defining characteristic at the very beginning of the story. And now, he's instantly parting with 50% of it, just like that.
But wait, it doesn't even stop there. He makes an incredible second promise. He says he will seek out anyone he had cheated and repay them 4 times the original amount. The source material doesn't sugarcoat his past at all. He openly admits he cheated people. But this newly transformed heart of his demands restitution that goes way, way beyond a simple apology. He is actively dismantling the fortune he built and multiplying his repayments by 4. So when we pull this all together and look at the big picture, the sheer magnitude of this behavioral shift is stunning. Before this encounter, he was wealthy, he cheated others, and he was deeply disliked. After the encounter, he gives half his wealth away, repays what he stole 4 times over, and joyfully welcomes a guest into his home. The transformation isn't just spiritual, it's heavily social and financial. He actively reverses the exact things that made him so isolated in the first place.
Part 6. Salvation has come.
Jesus responds to this by saying, "Today salvation has come to this house." This isn't just about a man paying back some money to clear his conscience. No, Jesus declares that this complete, radical transformation of behavior, this massive shift from greed to extreme generosity, from total isolation to joyful welcoming, results in ultimate salvation. The changed heart is the actual evidence of that salvation arriving right at his literal doorstep.
So here's the thought I want to leave you with. If one encounter can change a heart so radically, shifting a person from a disliked, cheating tax collector to a joyfully generous host in a single afternoon, what are you willing to climb to see clearly? What are the physical or social barriers in your own life keeping you from that kind of transformative moment? Take some time to think about the profound power of being fully seen and what kind of radical action it might inspire you to take. Thank you so much for joining me for today's Explainer. Keep climbing, and I'll catch you next time.